This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the month of March 2025. March is the crossover month. 2 retrogrades and 2 eclipses take us from one experience of reality to another, drastically different one. It's a time paradox, sending us back to the past again, while simultaneously suspending us in what feels like an eternal present. It immerses us completely, utterly, bordering on drowning in boundaryless connectivity, while also firing up raw life force and fighting spirit, and then launches solo missions into a bold, fierce future. The passage will be bumpy, awkward, and uncomfortable. We're riding rapids with flames bursting here and there up from the water like an amusement park adventure ride with no guide at the helm of the raft, no map of the river, no real idea of where we're going, and no navigational tool except intuition and instinct. March begins with the revising the past piece. The year's second interplanet retrograde launches the month. Venus, ruler of what we value and how we get along, is retrograde from March 1st through April 12th, traveling from 10 degrees Aries to 24 degrees Pisces. Her initial firepower gets a boost from Mercury moving into Aries as well on March 2nd. We've just completed a retrograde with the god of war in a feminine, nurturing guise. Now the goddess of love is under his command at the outset. She starts in fiery warrior goddess mode and slips back into her highest, most loving goddess form starting March 27th. As with a Mercury or Mars retrograde, watch for ghosts to resurface of past relationships, creative ventures, situations that were once important. Revisiting, reviewing, and redoing are the order of the month. This will intensify to the point of unavoidability during the second half of the month when Mercury also goes retrograde. Mercury's retrograde is completely nested within Venus's, running from March 15th to April 7th and traveling from 9 degrees Aries to 26 degrees Pisces, covering almost the same turf as Venus. This overlap means confusion will be rampant. There's another reason for that, about which more soon. Opportunities will abound to undo and redo and fix and finish. And developments of the recent past are central to those tasks from January 27th on, when Venus entered the territory of her retrograde. Use this time to pick up and reconfigure puzzle pieces you dropped or misinterpreted. These overlapping retrogrades add to an environment that's confusing in its own right. The sky has an overwhelming Pisces emphasis, connecting us to everyone and everything and blurring boundaries between all of it. The Sun, Saturn, Neptune, and the North Node are in the sign for the first 3 weeks. Soon after the Sun moves out, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon move in. From the equinox on, we're in a weird mix of spaciness, disorientation, empathic overload, and heightened creativity, escapism, illusion, and non-rational knowing. It's a prolonged goodbye party for Neptune, which is wrapping up 14 years in the sign. He'll come back in November for a brief encore. And it befits his boundlessness for all of reality to soak in the same waters for his send-off. Schedule time for quiet and contemplation so you can absorb the best of the water's gifts. Within this strange brew comes the season's eclipses. Each will clear the waters, but in different ways. The first draws lines and explodes some of the confusion. The Virgo full moon on the 15th is a total lunar eclipse with echoes of March 2006, bringing dramatic revelations, sending people and situations out the door, and echoing many a chapter. With the moon's links to Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, some of the dramas will involve authority and authority figures, and personal responsibility or accountability. Some will involve unmasking, and some, likely many, will involve sudden, shocking plot twists. The second eclipse follows the Sun entry into Aries, the equinox, on March 20th, and Venus's return to Pisces on March 27th. The Aries new moon solar eclipse on March 29th ends 2 years of eclipses on the relationship axis of Aries-Libra, 2 years of revisiting and rewriting relationship ground rules to weight them toward self-determination. The eclipse occurs at the starting point for both the Venus and Mercury retrogrades, which are serving as runways to the big event. The eclipse occurs while we are soaking in a mega conjunction at the end of Pisces. The eclipse is bookended by Venus and then Mercury exactly meeting with the sign's ruler on the 27th and the 29th. The meetings promise ecstatic experience, hearts melding with each other or the divine, heights of creativity and compassion, blending with universal consciousness and knowledge. The meetings provide blissful anesthetic to the month's dramatic ending. It's as if the amusement park ride has reached a lagoon so enticing that we love to linger, except for those flames that keep flaring up from the water. And then the raft morphs into a rocket ship that bursts out of the water and heads for the stratosphere. And lo, we are not afraid. As the ship is lifting off, while the eclipse is resonating, a raw life force ignites within us that travels up the core of our being. Neptune, our connection to the divine, to dreams, to transcendence, enters Aries on the 30th for the first time in 150 years. None of us have lived through this. None of us knows how this will play out. Yet we go into this sensitized, utterly sensitized by awareness and experience of every other being on this planet. The Pisces super soaking will not leave us. And with Neptune in Aries, we are our own connection to spirit. The fire rising within us is our navigational tool. And just as a plant knows how to find and follow the sun, so do we, instinctively. And the month we leave will likely bear little resemblance to the month we entered. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 35 years' experience. Visit my site, empowermentunlimited.net, to sign up for my mailing list, listen to my weekly podcasts, and book a session with me. I host the show Celestial Compass on Om Times Radio on the first and third Monday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. I also host conversation on Facebook on the page Empowerment Unlimited and in the group the Astro-Insight Lounge. I post on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads at Kathy Biehl and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian channel.